Hello, friends. My name is host Eric. I'm here with my beloved wife, Rachel.
Hi.
And we're here tonight to talk about typology. Good versus bad. What's the difference between good typology and bad typology? On the one hand, a positive. On the other, a negative. How can we distinguish between the two? Isn't that a fun and important question for us to address tonight? Yes, it is. That's the answer to that question. We've got one answer already, and we just got started. We already got an answer to a question. What are these? They are my hands. An answer to yet another question that nobody asked. All right, well, it is Friday night, so not unexpectedly, it's going to be a little bit slow going around here. People tend to go out on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna log back in just to remind myself. Actually, let's see what's through.
So, famous people with talking with famous people.
Oh.
Very good, Oliver Linehan. How you doing, Oliver Linehan? Commentator of great renown. I appreciate when you bother to try to explain things to people who say things in the comments that piss me off. I really do.
And also, you explain things better than I do.
Often better than I do as well, so.
Yeah, hats off to you.
Hats off to you indeed. You qualify as one of the good column of typology. You know, we determined that the typology falls into two primary columns. The heading of column 1 is good. The heading of column 2 is bad.
And I appreciate you following me on Instagram. Hats off to you for that too.
Well, I thought she was going to say follow me around when I leave the house. I was going to say, really?
No.
I didn't know he was doing that. But it turns out it was...
I do have a TikTok. I should say follow me on TikTok, but I haven't checked.
Follow me on TikTok, then you do that thing. The way you tick and talk and bing. The way you make and mock that ring.
You know what it does? It does get you a thing on. I got a notification, yay.
Yeah, you should get a badge or a certificate. For sure. I don't know when it's going to arrive in the mail, but keep checking your mailbox because one of these days. I'm sure the badge and certificate people will send you one. I gotta say, my short in which I yell nerds at a Caltech person is really being misinterpreted. I am not really trying to ontologically assault that person. I'm making a commentary on how much the world has changed since 1984 when Revenge of the Nerds came out, right? It is no longer the case that people who go to Caltech are disparaged as nerds. Now they're respected as the most high-achieving members of our society. And it's not the case that I'm somebody who self-identifies with those who would yell at people and call them nerds, but rather quite the contrary. So there's like two levels of haha there that at least some people seem to completely miss, right? Which is just like, okay, why do I bother? Why do I bother making funny jokes like this? Why do I bother? Is there any reason to? Everyone's just gonna wag their finger at me? You smoke some Boston Pete. You do. You do.
Yeah, you do.
You do, Boston Pete. You do. You thought it was funny unironically? No, Legends Fall. You laughed wrong. Okay? You laughed wrong. You're not allowed to laugh that way. Can we all agree that Legends Fall laughed wrong and that he's no longer allowed to laugh that way? Okay? You thought it was funny, unironically. Legends Fall, did you really? You did not really think it was funny, unironically. I really like the idea of people not being allowed to laugh certain ways. You may not laugh at it for those reasons. You must laugh at it for these reasons. You know, I really have this like I feel like language and I are like I am with a dog. I have this really like roll around and cuddle feel sort of relationship with it. You know? I like the way words feel in my mouth. Just like I like the way dogs smell when you're rolling around with them, you know? They smell so much like dogs. They're like, yeah, it's a good dog smell.
I think you have a good smell.
You're not waiting for this. You're just sitting there. Yeah. So, everybody, we're making a set of rules on how and why you can laugh at things from now on. I'd like everybody to submit their suggestions and how we're going to enforce this. We'll need to have a questionnaire followed by every lull. That follows every lull to make sure the lull was adequately justified by the right kinds of reasons to laugh. I think that's fair. Hi, Karma's Pimp. Well, Boston Pete. So, are you saying I am disallowed this? Well, ha ha. I'm not allowed to do that anymore? Is that forbidden by your rule? Even if it's clearly like I'm not allowed to do that anymore. Okay, well then I'm not in favor of these rules anymore. Because I'm constantly saying that to people. Oh yeah? Well, ha ha. Is like my number one go-to thing. So if you cut that out of my vocabulary, I'm fucked. We need to be more authentic? Are you sure we're not already too authentic? I'm pretty authentic. Let's all be ISTJs. Rachel and I had kind of a groundbreaking discussion today. After a long time of claiming that our cat was ISFP, I finally faced up to the reality. Our cat is an ISTJ. She's been an ISTJ the whole time. That's where all this SI comes from. She's constantly SIing. She's very selfish in her FI. You know, it's very difficult to tell where a cat's intuition lies. But, yes, we've retyped our cat from ISFP to ISTJ.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because, like, Eric never had conflict with Kitty. Like, not like that, you know? Not like conflict relations can be. Just, like, usually there's some sort of, like, tension.
Well, you know, my dog Lacey, I believe, was an ISFJ.
Yeah.
And she was... I've seen ESFJ dogs who are much more friendly with outsiders, right? But my dog was one that would yap at you until she was sure she knew you, no matter who you were, basically. And she really liked to cuddle, and she, you know...
Aww.
So she was very ISFJ, very FE, constantly looking at me for cues, you know? But I've also met dogs who, like my dog Winston, who was a Basset Hound, who was definitely FI and SE. Like, I'd say, come on, Winston. But he wanted to go what he was smelling, go see what he was smelling, I guess. Smell it closer or something. And, you know, it's like, that dog was such a pain in the ass. If the Basset Hound, if he found cat shit, he'd start rolling around in it. I had to be like constantly alert for him finding any cat shit because the first thing he wanted to do was rub his body on it.
So that would make him an ESFP?
I don't know what he was, but he didn't care. He wasn't FE conscious. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and he did what he wanted to do. And he's very stubborn, and maybe an ISFP, maybe
maybe an ISFP.
maybe an ESFP. I don't know. Octavia Silva, does it insult you if I say that my dog, who liked to roll in cat poop, was probably an ISFP?
Kitty doesn't do that.
You know, Kitty would never do that. Kitty's very fussy about her fur. And I'm convinced, at least, that she's got this mixed relationship with me putting diatomaceous earth on her. That to some extent she understands this gets rid of the fleas for her a bit.
Yeah.
And makes her feel better, and she's happy about that. But she also doesn't like to have this dust put all over her, you know? So, I think she comes around sometimes and demonstrates that she's scratchy, expecting me to put the diatomaceous earth on her, but then still complains about it when I do. Like, she still goes meow, but she doesn't really try to get away.
No, but like
she just says meow,
just meow.
meow.
Yeah, she knows enough to. She knows it's good enough for her. You know, like I know that Kitty always sleeps well the night she has diatomaceous earth on her.
ISFP is the type most likely to want to roll in animal shit.
Who loves hearing that?
Ooh, I want to be that type. That's the problem with type descriptions, right? You knew a cat who was an actual ENFP. He was full of ideas, and we all had to know about them. Yeah, I had a cat too that I'm convinced was an Entp. He was full of ideas and clumsy, and didn't live very long. He got eaten by something or run over or something. He just disappeared one day. He got stuck up a tree one time and yelled at us to get him down from the tree, but we couldn't get him down. He was way too up high. And so then we went back to the garage where we were sitting, and then about 5 minutes later he came inside and yelled at us some more about how we hadn't gotten him down from the tree. Now that he'd gotten himself down, you know. He was such an ENTP. You tell right away I named him Normal because he was so abnormal. In the same way that you name the large Italian gangster guy Tiny. Yeah. It's such obvious irony as to be the NI choice. I think we do have Milwaukee's best left. Would you like one?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
I will leave you with the melodious sound of Rachel's voice for about a minute or two here.
So, Octavio Silva, since in an ESTJ their SI is second, is your cat good at taking care of itself? As in, like, is it an indoor cat and does it, like, you know, take care of its business easily? Or is it an indoor-outdoor cat like Pee-Pee, and she has her own like private spot where she goes? No one knows where it is. Giveaway for this cat was 6-slot FE, who pretend to be very social and loving when around you, but would steal all of your food behind your back because he really wants to. Wow, he is clean. That sounds very ESTJ-like. Octavia Silva says about her cat, he's indoor and he will sit and wipe his paws on the walls and toilet for 2 full minutes every time he goes potty to clean them. I said that was because of their SI second.
Well, our cat does this funny thing when she drinks. A lot of times she'll like scoop up the drink in her paw and then drink from it. And she likes to pat the water.
One time she just stuck it in the whole thing.
Yeah. So, I hope everybody has watched my manifesto video and said, yes, Eric, we agree with your manifesto, either out loud or in your head. Either way is fine. If you didn't say it out loud, that's okay. In fact, no, not that one. I never believed your observations on SI Polar, but my psychology teacher this semester is an ENTJ, and I have to admit you were right all this time. Well, thanks.
That's
Gosh,
nice.
Octavio Silva, that's nice to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better or worse? Maybe I should change my shirt. Maybe I should change my life. That would be what a bully would say to me.
Yeah, I believe would.
Let me change my shirt instead.
Yeah.
So this is brewed for the wonderful world of leisure. That's what it says on the box. Okay? This is brewed for the wonderful world of leisure. There's nothing Marxist about my manifesto, okay? It's a non-Marxist manifesto. It's entirely free of both Marx and Lenin. Largely free of you. Hey, it's my favorite shirt that I always forget about.
Aww.
Because only the cool kids know what this shirt is all about. Only the cool kids know what this shirt's all about. Hey, cool kids. You know what I'm rocking. You know why I'm rocking the Thank You 39 shirt.
I do. I believe I whispered in your ear.
Hmm?
I whispered in your ear.
Yes. That's right, darling. You nailed it on the nose. What about you, fans out in the viewing world? Do you know why I'm wearing the shirt or what it references or what the shirt is from? Eric, what is a typical ENTP response to a crisis? Depends what kind of crisis it is. If it's not your crisis, it's probably cool, calm, and directive and taking kind of a natural leadership role. If it's your crisis, well, typically SE kicks in if it's a solvable crisis. If it's an emotional crisis, then crawl into bed, get drunk or something like that, you know. No, they won't deal with it well. Like, just in general, emotional complexity is very hard for me to process. So, I deal with emotional complexity every day here living with my dad, trying to be a good son, trying to engage with him, but not really feeling like it, you know? Could you let the cat in, Rachel?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, actually, I'll do it, because this... Never mind, it's easier if I do it.
Yeah, it is easier.
Come in. We are
Hi,
not going to play
Pee-Pee.
in and out kids, okay? I want to tell you that right now. I do not want to play in and out kids. No. Yes, you're a beautiful majesty.
Oh, she is a beautiful majesty.
You're a wonderful and precious hero of the just.
Aww.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but my cat is a wonderful and beautiful hero of the just. Oh, she's heroically justice-filled. Hi, Chris Chapin. Hi, Jeremiah Fix. Well, I think that the manifesto's point is that there's a need for society to take a different perspective on MBTI, on cognitive functions, really, but to make it most accessible for people to understand what I'm referring to, MBTI, um, in a way that reframes how we think about people. Because currently we're operating under the default frame that you deviate from some central norm average of averaging all people together. It's never explicitly stated, but that's the implication. No, there's nothing Yale derived about this, but regardless, it's nevertheless true and has been true, and I've said it in various ways multiple times. And the thing is, we can articulate a specific and concrete sort of architecturally necessitated harm from accepting the existing status quo of Big Five, which is basically an attribute-based descriptive taxonomy of personality that says you achieve or fail to achieve on the following attributes, maybe one of which is neutral, and one of which is negative, and the rest of which are normative in some capacity. So it's like openness is clearly normative, agreeableness is normative. You might say extroversion is neutral, like non-normative. Conscientiousness is normative, and neurotic is negatively normative. So there's not really any disputing that. That's what those words mean, is they assign sort of public utility expressions of self as values to attain at. It's such a description of people as subjects without considering their agency or any deeper qualities of their selves,
Yeah. Actually, I tested 50% for agreeableness when I took it, because at the time I was like a really defensive person, and I was not as agreeable as I am now. I think my natural state is to be agreeable, but that's such a reductive way of thinking. I don't know.
I mean, the best you can do with it is say, somebody who gives these ocean scores, if you're about to interact with them and they have these ocean scores right now, it means that in your interaction with them, you can make certain kinds of minimal predictions.
Yeah.
If they have very low extroversion, you'll probably have to talk more. That's the most neutral of them. If they have very low conscientiousness, it's more likely that they'll show up late or something, but they might not, in which case, what, did you just falsify it? No.
I showed up 0 for conscientiousness.
So it's so meaningless. It's so trying to force people. I mean, that's what people talk about when they talk about forcing people into boxes. People don't have those attributes. People are fluid processes that others can describe with those labels with more or less accuracy from a third-party objective perspective. But the thing about psychology is, unlike other things, psychology must necessarily, definitionally, account for the subjective, not just the objective. Because being a human being is a subjective experience, fundamentally. It's like nobody knows what it's like to be you except you on an experiential level. Nobody on an experiential level experiences being you except for you.
Yeah, my neuroticism was low too, actually. Basically, though, I remember taking the test and being like, oh, I'm an outgoing slug.
So, and the only meaningful distinction from that is one that heretofore has seemed to be arbitrary. If you want to divide human personality into phlegmatic, choleric, yeah, say sanguine, and what's the other one? There's one more. If you want to try to divide it into that, then all of a sudden you've got these NI concepts that are irreducible and that aren't talking about anything. They don't link to anything melancholic. In other words, they may be an accurate taxonomy of most people, but it'll be hard to meaningfully nail it down empirically because it's too vague in its explanations, right? Whereas cognitive functions provide you explanations rather than just labels as to why somebody, it's explanation first and display second, and that's what makes it preferable. Because if I can explain the way that you operate attentionally, then the I can not only make predictions about how you might behave in various situations or whatever, but I can also understand and explain why you and I can't seem to see eye to eye on this. If Joe and Bob are talking past each other and cannot find any kind of agreement, is it because one of them's not agreeable enough? Is it because only one of them's an extrovert? Is it because one of them lacks conscientiousness? What about one of them being correct or incorrect? Does that matter at all? Does that come into play? It's like those kind of questions are not even, how do you even begin to answer it with Big Five? You can't. So it's not a meaningful explanation of personality. It doesn't explain how persons are. It doesn't answer any meaningful questions. Explanations should answer questions with good answers that link back to a centrally sound axiom, which in this case would be the prime directive, the idea that people want to close the distance between their expectations and their realities. They'd like to basically live a life they expect as they expect it to be. Okay, I agree with Alan. Big Five is a good place to buy hiking boots on sale. True that. That may be a Southern California joke. I don't know. Is Big Five national?
I don't know.
Because
I don't
he
know.
lives near us. Did I take psychology classes in college? No. I think I took maybe like Psych 101 or something. I took it in high school. Or I taught it in high school. I don't think I really took any in college. Socionics is word salad, and the words don't even taste very good. Well, I think what happened is Socionics got too TI and lost sight of things. It's like it started arguing down all the distinctions that could be made.
Yeah.
It kind of pulled a smarty pants version of DSP. And what it failed to do was the framework and say, which of these distinctions are meaningfully mechanical distinctions and which are just correlate distinctions? And if we can't make those kind of if we can't determine the difference between them, then how do we ever end up typing anybody? Because you might get, if you were to test somebody on all the different, say, Renin dichotomies, just as a self-identification thing, you're probably going to get a lot of contradictory answers because people are going to self-report very differently on those things. Now, obviously, self-reporting is not a very good strategy to test somebody, but the point being, there needs to be, even though you're dealing with an open system, the model has to ultimately be a closed system. And that's the big challenge. Modeling any open system. I'm somewhat agreeable. I don't know how I test on agreeableness. I don't remember what my ocean scores were. Am I agreeable? Am I disagreeable? I mean, that's another thing that makes it a weird test, right? It's like it totally depends on the day and my mood, frankly, as to how agreeable I am.
Yeah.
If I'm in a pissy mood, this morning I woke up in a pissy mood, and when I went down to the gas station, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I am not wearing a mask, and I'm going inside the gas station, even though there's a big sign on the door that says, if you don't have a mask, go to the window. Just because I was in a pissy mood. I was being disagreeable. Of course, I walk in, the person has her mask down around her neck, and she just smiles at me and says, "Good morning," and no, doesn't care at all. And I go, "Oh, well, there goes my big." See, I mean, I was like, I was expecting her to go, "Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. You don't have a mask on." And I was gonna go, I am so done with this stupid fucking nonsense, and then storm out of there or something. But instead, she was super cool, so I was just like, "Oh, can I get 2 packs of cigarettes, please?" So, normally I'm not like that. Normally I'm not that disagreeable. So, but does that, so in fact, if you were to score my agreeability this morning, would it be just bad results on the test? If you were to score it observationally? Or do you expect people to basically self-report correctly on themselves overall and be able to account for that deviance? I mean, what if I took it this morning? Would I have reported myself more disagreeable than if I took it right now? I don't know, but I do know that. I mean, I think they're metaphors to try to explain the distinction between conscious and unconscious functions, basically. That is better explained as follows. Whatever your dominant function is, however we define it, when we define your 5th slot function, that's part of the definition of your dominant function. When we describe your 8th slot function, that's part of the definition of your dominant function. When we describe the 4th slot function, that's part of the definition of your dominant function. When we say you necessarily have a mya kind of function as a tool function because your dominant function is a mu kind of function, that's part of the definition of the dominant function. So most of what we talk about when we talk about functions are just different perspectives defining the same thing. Being an NE DOM means I'm NI 5th, means I'm SE 8th, means I'm SI 4th, means I have a deliberation function as a tool function. And that's all part of the definition of being an NE DOM. When we talk about the different functions, what we mean is, because I'm an extroverted intuition dominant person, my relationship with the function we call extroverted sensing looks like this from my own perspective, looks like this from your perspective, looks like this from an objective perspective. And of course, my perspective and your perspective, the accuracy of them, the link to the objectiveness will be determined largely by our function stacks. So, I don't know where I was going with all of that stuff, but that's where I got when I arrived. Is the thing, Rachel.
I see.
That's the thing I've discovered is even when I don't know where I'm going, when I get there, I do typically know where I am.
That's good that you know where you are.
Right, which is I'm right here, wherever that is, even if I don't know where that is.
Well, you don't need to know that.
Why would I need to? Why would you need to know the name of the girl you having sex with on the side of the road? I don't know.
I don't know.
Why would you need to? Why would you need to know the name of the pig you're sacrificing to the Aztec god? There's no reason. That's not a good congratulations, Brando memes. You don't congratulate somebody on 6.99. Okay, you have to wait till you get to 7. Everybody knows that. Well, you remember when we was on that one Thanksgiving we were traveling to North Carolina and we saw those people sacrificing goats to the Aztec gods by the side of the road?
Yes, I was very confused.
And we stopped and we said, "What you gonna do with them dead goats? Why are you gonna light them on fire?" And they said something like Exo Chilt, Yako Chiu, something like that.
That's
and they chased us away with their stone axes. Do you
I
remember
think-
that time?
Yes, I do. I think from what you're saying, that name sounds like it's from Elon Musk. You think he's behind them?
Exochilt? I think maybe his son is named Exochilt. Is that right?
I don't know. It's
Or
something similar.
Exochilt might be the god of electric cars from Aztec society.
That's what I mean.
You could be right about that. Anyway, you remember that time, and that's where I got that axe mark scar on my shoulder.
Ow.
That's where I got it from.
Exo chill.
Exochilt. Elon and Grimes broke up? Oh no!
So that one coming.
Whatevs.
Thank you for letting me know, though.
You know, they really weren't good together.
Oliver Linehan.
They really weren't good together. Okay? First of all, she was way too grimy. Second, he always smelled strongly of musk. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Last name puns, yeah. I hope you enjoyed my last name puns.
Looks good.
Alright, so can I just say, Norm MacDonald, I have apologized in the past for kind of dismissing you and thinking you were not. I know you're dead now, but I apologize for dismissing you in the past because I was kind of annoyed by your you know thing. But you are one hilarious motherfucker, okay?
Yeah.
You are a funny dude. He tells some of the funniest jokes
He
I
does.
have heard in a long time. I've been clicking on like little snippets of him. If I could just get him on Conan O'Brien, the snippets with all of Conan edited out, thank you, would be great. Because Conan makes me just want to...
I guess the good thing about Conan is that he had, what's his name?
What's he doing it again?
Norm MacDonald.
Look what she's doing again, Rachel. She's sitting in the belt. She was doing that last night. There's a belt that's makes kind of a kitty-shaped circle on the floor accidentally.
My purse.
Oh, is that your purse?
Oh, she's saying, oh, my purse.
Oh, I thought it was... Okay, so it's the belt of the purse that's going around her tail like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cats like to sit like in the middle of circles or on cat-sized things or
You
whatever.
look beautiful.
Oh,
I'm so
yes, you
thank
do.
you.
Yes. What a good kitty.
Such a good kitty.
Speak for yourself, Jeremiah Fix. You might just be the dust of singularity. I'm not. Okay? I have a YouTube channel. That means I'm very important. I don't know, maybe you scared her away with your manly excesses, Jeremiah Fix. Maybe that's what happened to her. With your toxic masculinity. Yeah, I'll tell you something though, Jeremiah. There is zero, and I mean zero toxic masculinity when it comes to my kitty. None. She is such a princess of glory whose majesty besparkles us with sprinkled dewdrops of wonder continually without stopping forever and ever until restarting again. That's how important this cat is.
She's giving me the face of like, get away from me. I don't want any more pictures taken.
Do you have a good one here? Oh my goodness. Look at that kitty. That kitty is the very vision of beatific wonder. If you don't agree, you're totally wrong. What a glorious kitty friend.
What a glorious kitty friend.
Unoriginal freak. No, there's not really a single thing where you can read or watch my full explanation. I do have a document started that, for, you know, the purpose of which is to lay things out in a single clear document, but in order to do so convincingly, well, I mean, I haven't worked on it in a while, but the other thing is there's a certain amount of, I gotta do a little bit of remedial thinking class first, because people don't really, you gotta understand certain concepts before I can explain other concepts, right? And so I'm trying to put together a document that's very straightforward in its presentation and its definitions and stuff, and very common language and not jargony. I think it's this thing. Yeah. So this won't get you very far into. This won't really get you any distance into my correct explanation of the mechanics of cognitive functions, but it will give you a sense of what I'm trying to do here with this document. You can look at it as it is. So the thing is, the most important components to keep in mind when it comes to cognitive functions in general is that people attend on 4 different fields. You can attend inside your head. You can attend to your bodily feelings. You can attend to words outside of yourself, like you're doing right now, or you can attend to actual stuff, physical objects and stuff outside in the world. And there's different ways of paying attention that could be applied to each of those fields. In other words, I could know about something, I could know about what's being said, I could know about what's happening, I could be doing something, participating in what's happening, right? I could be trying to decide whether I should do something. So it's like these different angles or perspectives comprise cognitive functions, and your stack explains how and when you attend via certain modalities contextually according to which fields are operant. So if you're running a marathon, the number one operant field is your SI, your internal physical sensations. It is true that you have to watch out for obstacles and stuff in the road, but mostly you just have to run straight ahead and force yourself to keep running even though you're super tired. So primarily it's about an SI experience. It's operant mostly on that internal physical field. If you are playing ping pong, on the other hand, it's mostly operant on the external physical field, because while it still requires you to move your body, it's not an endurance test. It's instead a skills, fine gross motor skills test, right? Equivalent for the various fields. And so our stack basically says, like, I'm an NEDOM, which means I'm an action type. What that says is when I go through the world, I expect to be able to talk about it, which is a weird thing to think, right? Well, how do you expect your character to go through the world? I expect my character to go through the world explaining things to people, and other people listen to me and go, "Oh, thanks for explaining that. What a strange job to have assigned to myself," right? But that's what I expect. That's what I expect to be and do as I go through the world. I expect this because that's what my personality type is defined as. It's defined as somebody who operates by going through the world and saying things about it and expecting other people to listen to him. Rather than, say, somebody who knows what he wants, or somebody who gets shit done, or somebody who knows how to figure out how to do things, or somebody who knows how to schmooze, or, it's like, I'm somebody who knows how to, who knows how to talk someone's ear off. Is that a skill? It's not what one would normally consider a super useful skill. How can one deal with SE inferior, SE fourth? I mean, Rachel, you got SE fourth. You tell the man or woman.
Well, It took me a long time to realize that when you throw a ball, you have to throw with the same foot as your hand, like in a stance.
You need to throw with your diaphragm.
So, like, I used to throw a ball with, like, my left hand, my left foot, like, first. So I, like, I don't know.
Oh, so you mean you had to have explained to you that you had your physical movements backwards?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And I have an equivalent story about SE, which is that when I was a kid and they'd say, keep your eye on the ball in baseball, for a long time, I just thought it was a metaphor. Because it is a metaphor, right? I didn't know they meant for me to watch the ball as it left the pitcher's hand and comes to the mitt, right? I just thought it meant generally do a better job or something, So a lot of times we need, if we have weak SE, whether it's 8th slot or 4th slot or whatever, we need to have it explained to us because we don't naturally or natively attend that way. We attend some other way.
Right. Once it got explained to me, like, I actually was pretty good with it. And actually, like, I'm really good with catching a ball. So my dad would play catch with me, and I was always good at receiving.
And once somebody explained to me, no, actually look at the ball. You're not doing it. What do you mean? You're not keeping your eye on the ball. What do you mean? You're not actually looking at the ball going from the pitcher's hand to the mitt. Oh, you want me to actually look at it the whole time? Once somebody explained it to me, it helped. I was like, oh, that helps a lot.
Yeah, my dad explained it to me. Yeah, he didn't explain to me how to, like, throw a ball, but he explained to me how to catch one.
I don't remember learning how to throw a ball because I guess I was throwing a ball from very little on. Being a boy in 1970, being born in 1971 as a boy, I'm sure my dad had me throwing balls from early on. I remember being on a block with lots of boys, so there's lots of ball throwing. I don't recall learning how to throw a ball. I always knew how to throw one. But I do recall learning how to try to hit a baseball and having to be explained. No, actually look at it the whole time. Don't just sort of intuit where it's going to be and swing when you think it maybe ought to arrive.
Intuitors need that explained to them. At least.
Eric, what is flat? Or does that say what is fiat? What is flat? Things that aren't curved. How is that for an answer? It indicates a lack of curvature. That's what flat is. We can distinguish between that which is flat and that which is curved by measuring the amount of curvature.
Yes.
Flat things won't have any. They'll have curvature deficit disorder. You don't want to get that. If you get that, then you become two-dimensional. If you become two-dimensional, then you die. Bum, 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 bum. There aren't any two-dimensional living organisms that I can think of right now. How much flat? More flat than you can handle, okay?
Do Pokemons classify as two-dimensional?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on a cartoon, I guess.
On the game too, kind of, no?
On the cards, sort of, yeah. But on the figurines, no, they would be three-dimensional. Right. Now, actual real-life Pokemons are just imaginary. But if they did exist, they would be three-dimensional. If you could have any Pokemon, which one would it be in real life? If you could have any Pokemon be your real-life Pokemon, which one would you choose?
my first gut. Well, at first I said to myself Jigglypuff because I used to like she was my first favorite one. Yes, I thought she was like ridiculous. Wasn't really like a big like Pokemon, but like I liked Jigglypuff because I thought it was ridiculous. Like this like singing blob.
I'm leaning Jigglypuff as well. I've long said Jigglypuff is the sexiest of the Pokemon.
I used to like playing as Jigglypuff in what's that Nintendo game? Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers. I used to like to play as Jigglypuff. I didn't know what the heck I was doing at the time, but Jigglypuff was a fun character on Super Smash Brothers.
See, Oliver, you say it's the flattest object in the universe, with the exception of Jeremiah's mom. And I agree Jeremiah's mom is flat, but I think you're forgetting about my cock, which, as Rachel will tell you, is like an extraordinarily compressed ruler. It's like I can slide it between two anvils lying face down together. That's how flat my penis is. It's so flat that fleas run drag races on it.
I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. A lot of things people don't know about me. It's also round like a pancake. Flat and round. When I whip it out, Rachel's basically faced with a shield, like a bronze shield, but it's flat. First time she was like, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this?" You know? I was like, "Oh, let me show you, baby."
A girl's gotta ask, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna play a game called Bed Frisbee. That's right. The old frisbee. No, grip it like this. No, like this. Like this. Hi, I have a question. What do Entps find so exciting about INFJs? It's not that we find them necessarily exciting, as we find them an oasis of understanding in a world that it's mostly pushback. So,
Thank you. I like to be there for you.
You like to be here for me?
Yeah.
I mean, I find her extremely comfortable to be with all the time. Like, you know, when we're not on camera, when you see me on camera and Rachel's not with me, which happens fairly often, what's happening there is she's gone to bed or something. So,
or I'll be right over there.
Yeah, but almost all of the time that we're awake, we're together. Whenever I go on an errand, we go together. Whenever it's like we do everything together all the time. And the reason for that is because we're both relationshipy, so it feels naturally part of a couple, I think, for both of us. And we're just that comfortably compatible with each other. Rachel finds it comfortable to listen to my jokes and prattle and stuff. You are, of course, invited, Taylor. Last time we had a get-together here in Southern California, Taylor had a few issues with the Kansas legal system that may have constrained his ability to visit us. I don't want to get any more specific than that, but yeah. Anyhow. Taylor's hilarious legal problems aside. I'm just kidding. There's nothing hilarious about them. There really isn't. It pissed me off so much. Being able to laugh about it now is actually kind of refreshing. I was so angry on Taylor's behalf, I didn't know what to do with myself. And you know, that lady wouldn't take my calls at all. That horrible lady. So it's like, God, what was that horrible lady's name? Tracy Beverland. He's a murderer. He's a murderer. He murders himself. Tracy Beverland's colluding with him. Meow, 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 meow. He's a murderer. Okay, so what was I talking about? I was talking about something really important. The roundness and flatness of my package does not matter. It's all about rotational velocity. And that's true. I spin at 35,000 RPM. I've noticed Rachel's sweet spot is right around 28,000. So we just write it there. Ring! It sounds like I'm doing woodwork every time we have sex. Okay.
So, I used to, like, be so on Norm Macdonald. Like, sometimes I'd find him really funny. Like, I do remember him being on SNL, like, as a kid, doing the daily news, or, like, the nightly news. But, like, sometimes I thought he was mean. So it was, like, because, like, I also remember him and Billy Madison, like, spraying the hose on, like, a little kid who's, like, sitting Indian style. And he's like, Mister, why are you doing this to me? It was funny, but I've definitely been in that kid's position before. It was really funny. That's the part that made me laugh the most.
Well, I wish I had been more responsive to that person. I don't know if I would have been able to do anything. I do remember trying to do something for somebody else who contacted me about the Pratt County Police Department and not being able to. You know, it's like I made a video about it, didn't get very many views, and it just was whatever it was, you know? So I just felt like I'm banging my head against the wall, you know? I want to feel like I can make some sort of progress. But not only am I banging my head against the wall, but it's like they got me really cornered because I don't feel safe going to the state. I'm quite sure there's a warrant for my arrest, you know? And the reason is because not only is there all that shit with the shooting at the alleged geese, allegedly shooting at the alleged geese, but I got a ticket on the way out of Kansas that I never paid. Okay, is that what's going on? There's a problem with the audio? God damn it. Fucking goddamn motherfucking goddamn motherfucker. Ah! Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me? Can you hear me in your ear hole? I want everyone to please carefully check their ear hole. Do you hear this sound? Do you hear this sound? Ta, ta. Would you like to hear other sounds? Did I turn it down too much? Is it still quiet? It seems quiet for the levels I've got it at. That's the weird thing. I need a little feedback here, folks. You can't hear me? No? This isn't coming through? I'm not audible. You can hear me. Oliver can hear me, but it may be that he and I have a special connection. Oh, Brenna Lee can hear me. Brenna Lee, I didn't thank you the other day for your donation. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was very rude of me.
I thought you did.
I don't think I did. But maybe I did. In which case, I take it back because you only get one thank you. Everyone just keeps saying no or what? Can we somehow get Oliver and Flow State on the show tonight? Sure, if they want to come on.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because there ain't no party like a typology party because the typology party don't stop.
Yeah. We can I'm definitely an INFJ. Just because I don't know how to explain my fourth slot well. I mean, I think that was a good example. I'm not sure. I get my SE and TE mixed up a lot.
I'd like to point out that my browser window seems to confuse itself for my phone. Why does it have call Delilah as the first search thing in the browser? I never use that search expression when I don't need it anyway. That's fine. Okay, so I'm in Autonomy if you'd like to join me. If you would like to join me here in Autonomy, you may do so. Whoever you are. If you'd like to chat. We're taking callers from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North Coast to the South Coast, and everything in between, here on TWFP Radio, the Internet's only live television program that's broadcast worldwide, 24 hours a day, 360 days a year, sometimes.
Doo, doo, doo.
Here's the web address that you could go to if you'd like to join us. Pyow. That's not it, Eric. That's not it. That's not it at all. You got it wrong. Well, would you look at that? Eric got it wrong. Instead, it's this. Pya. Okay. So, you want to hear some gossip? I'll tell you some gossip. My client's recently divorced friend is dating a lawyer who's quite the bore, and my client doesn't like her. Boyfriend. New boyfriend. But doesn't know how to tell her that. It's a very Dear Abby situation I got called on today from my client, right?
That is a very Dear Abby.
It's like, I appreciate her giving me the status of Dear Abby, basically. She says, there's recently divorced friend, I guess, kind of really wants to show the ex-husband. So she found this successful guy with lots of accolades, but he's a bore, a B-O-O-R, which is to say he's a braggart and always talks about himself and miggity mew, miggity meow. What should she do? Callers, what do you think? What do you think she should do? Should she tell her friend? I said, well, you should tell her that you think he's an asswipe. If she gets a lot of pushback on him from her friends, then he'll not serve her FE purposes, and she won't make that mistake, But of course,
she could frame it nicely too. She could be like, if I were to give myself advice, I would tell myself not to be with this person.
How about, if you include this leprosy inside of your life, don't be surprised when nobody wants you near them.
Eek.
It's kind of harsh, huh? If you include this
It's good.
leprosy in your life, don't be surprised when no one wants you near them. Hey, he's not leprosy. He's a person too. Yeah, but socially, he might as well be. Okay, so to me, it's sort of a meta joke. Okay, Winston's mom. It's like we clearly don't live in the world of 1984 when I grew up, where there was a movie called Revenge of the Nerds, where the jock college students yell nerds at the nerds. Okay. Second of all, Caltech, the people who go to Caltech aren't generally thought or denigrated by society as nerds. Instead, they're held up as examples of the best and brightest of society and people who are the most high achieving. So the world we live in is very, very different from the source of that thing of me yelling nerds, right? And then the second point is that's what's happening to me basically on YouTube. Except instead of people yelling nerd at me, they're just ignoring me. You know, so it's like that's too hard. I like this easy, dumb, wrong psychology instead. That's what I'm getting from the world, right? So, and then I got somebody responded to the thing by totally not getting any of that context or thinking about it like that at all, right? It was just, oh, Eric's ontologically assaulting the nerds. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I got something against this some random dude walking by. He probably wasn't even a student. It's probably just, I don't know. He may have just been walking by the sign, you know? I just thought it would be funny to do. It just seems funny.
Okay, it is pretty funny. Eric put it as, like, Caltech as being, like, the MIT of the West Coast. So.
Yeah, if you're from the East, you might not be familiar with Caltech, but if out here it's basically thought of as MIT, but on the West Coast.
I would love to walk by MIT and be like, geeks!
It just seems funny, you know.
I like doing stuff like that sometimes. Stir up things.
It's like a pantomime of meanness. It's not really mean. It's not me actually being mean or hating on nerds or something. It's a meta joke, you know. So it's a warm meta joke among us nerds that says, isn't it great how much the world has changed? There's no faction of people in at least contemporary Los Angeles area high school college-y thing that has social status and shits on nerds. You know, it's like the thing doesn't exist, right? The sort of groupism that I'm displaying there just doesn't exist. Stop ruining the joke. Leave it to an ESTP to not want my nuanced meanings interfering with his nerds.
Ooh.
That's Jeff's mom.
Let's see what happens.
Hi. No problem. Okay, well, what sentence don't you like? Then just cut it.
Mic check. Mic check.
And just cut it right there. And don't, the thing is, Jeffrey, you don't need to have a good reason why it's unavoidable reality, okay? It's how you're doing shit, and that's fine. You don't need to justify that to anybody.
Oliver Linehan, are you in the room too?
What's that? I mean,
Revenge of the Nerds was
ask you
fantastic.
In the group thing,
I've never
then
seen
you
it,
can
actually.
Just point them to
Oh my
your
God, it's so
response and
good.
say, "Please see this post" or whatever, right? And then, well, then say if they email you privately about it, right? Because it says in the post to email you privately if they have further questions. So if they have further questions but they're not sent to you via a private email, you simply say, as indicated in the post, please email me with any further questions. Okay, and refuse to engage the subject publicly so that people get the idea that that's not how shit's gonna roll around there. You control what narratives are allowed to take root in your thing, okay? You're gonna add what? What did I say to add it? Okay. Also, Chawa, I've been asking my live stream people about your problem. What should my friend do? She has a recently divorced friend who brought a boyfriend over, and the friend wants her confirmation about that. Yeah, your new boyfriend's great, but really, she doesn't think she is great. What should she do? Well, Brenna Lee here says, considering it's a new relationship, she should definitely talk to her friend. If it's already been going on for some time, her saying something could cause resentment on her friend's part. But if it's new, presumably you can still get in your oh no with her thinking, well, thank you for being a good friend and being direct, right? That's the answer there. How long is long? That the question is how long is long, right? So if she's been going out with her for 2 weeks, is that too long or is that soon enough? Has she been going out with them for 6 months or something or what?
6 months.
6 months. Ooh. Unfortunately, she should have brought her around to meet you sooner than that, right? A lesbian daughter? The scandal. Okay. So what? So what do you have to do? Like,
So Taylor, what's going on with you? Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just switched over to my computer. I had some internet fuckery going on. I don't know, same shit every day, sort of. What about you?
Same thing, pretty much.
So did the chick with the boyfriend call, or the question call, just call him? Is that what's happening?
Who?
The chick with the boyfriend question. Did she just call him?
Oh, she is the client's mom. So
Who's the client?
Jeffrey,
The client's mom?
yeah, Jeffrey's mom. That's who has the question.
I heard Jeffrey's mom's got it going on. Well, if your friend asks for your advice, don't you think your friend wants the advice? Maybe she wants confirmation that the dude's dick so she can break up with him.
Yeah.
I think that she should honor the request at face value and not try to outthink or outmaneuver it.
Yeah. No, she shouldn't outmaneuver it.
I mean, if you respond, like, you know, in a direct fashion that assumes everyone's got honest intent, and they respond poorly, they're in the wrong, I think.
If she wants the advice, then she should get the truth.
Exactly. And if you don't want to hear the other thing, if you don't want to hear the truth, then certainly don't fucking ask for it.
Oh my god. Yeah, definitely.
It's not her.
Ask for
It's
it.
not her business at all. Unless she's asked for it. Now it is her business. So yeah, for sure, just tell her the truth.
Yeah,
And
it's 6 months. I think it's like definitely time. Also, like 6 months is like, I don't know, kind of a landmark usually. So, I mean, before it gets too serious, I don't know, she asked. She should definitely just say the truth. I think it's so much easier. I definitely was in a situation where, like, I had a friend who was, like, seeing a guy, and, like, I just, like, didn't like the way that he treated her, and she never asked for my opinion, and I gave it to her at one point, and she, like, never told me anything after that. So, people can be resentful if they're not asking for it, but if this girl's asking for it, just give her the truth.
yeah, I mean, like, we've all had friends who have shitty boyfriends or girlfriends that, you don't get along with, whatever. It's just part of life. I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal. I've had lots of friends who got like cunty girlfriends, and you just kind of wait it out, and at some point they're going to break up, and then you can be like, I told you that she sucked, but you know what? I've been with sucky people too. It's just part of the process.
Yeah, it is.
But I think that if you start being dishonest with your friend because you feel unnecessarily some sort of weird way about this, yeah, I don't know. I think the whole question, the question is really the source of the problem.
Yeah.
So, Jeffrey's mom, you're welcome for the free advice when you come back and watch this.
Yeah. I'll pull some cards. RDL wants some cards.
Tarot card?
Yeah.
You do tarot?
Yeah. I learned from an Entp friend back in 2015. And I've just been doing it ever since. I like it a lot. Have you ever had tarot cards read?
Yes, I have, and yes, I have.
I have too, and like I've definitely been to a bunch of bullshit ones. But
well, I mean, I'm an ESTP. I've got 4 slot in eye. I kind of like that sparkly shit.
It's fun. It's
yeah,
entertainment.
It is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And really, like, if the girl with the cards is hot, it's like a double whammy. It's like, okay, let's do this. Yeah, tell Eric to bring in Jeffrey's mom. Get Jeffrey's mom on webcam.
On webcam. There's another funny story about actually Jeffrey's mom. I don't know if I can say it. Like, I don't know what's like part of like keeping things private or anonymous. But it was something funny. Like,
I zoned out. Actually, I was reading the chat because I got behind the messages. I didn't hear what you said, but keep going if it doesn't.
oh, I should do the cards. RDL, I'll do the cards for you. Jeffrey's mom could join the autonomy room.
I thought I saw a question for me somewhere earlier. Now I can't see it anywhere. If somebody asked me a question that I ignored, repost it.
Okay. RDL, you got the 7 of Wands. And in the book it says... Challenges are put in your way, so this will be a testing time. Oh.
Well, challenges are at everyone's way right now. It's like, show me one person on Earth in September 2021 without
Challenging times.
right, without shit even affecting them a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Ari, don't worry. Everybody.
Yeah, don't worry.
All it means
Here.
is you're one of the rest of us.
Here, I'll give you another one. You're gonna have 3 cards. Ooh, you get 2.
2 wands.
Yeah. He gets the devil and the sun. Yeah. That's the devil
I
card.
don't know what that layout is, but it's probably intense. That's an intense.
Yeah, that is intense.
You know what? Your problems might be bigger than the rest of ours already.
Yeah, but you got the sun, so like everything's gonna be okay. You can like play with those like demons. It's not that bad. I mean, the people are chained, but like what like some tarot readers say is that like you could always like just like let loose from them. You're not like not really tied to it. It's like the bond that we like give to ourselves, sort of. And the sun card is number 21.
That's a pretty esoterically significant number.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to know what this is. The sun card I could never. It's XIX. If anyone knows which. Oh, Eric's coming back.
Coming back. So my kid Jeff, he's got this business going on, and it's a very successful business, I guess, where he buys like gamer keyboard components and assembles and sells custom keyboards of some sort, like that, something like that. And
Good niche.
yeah, it's pretty niche, but I mean, like he's like making good money, and his parents call me. They're having this PR disaster because there's this one guy on his server who is complaining that the color, which was described as port, isn't port enough. It's more, but Jeff, and so Jeffrey and his family are trying to explain to me, but he's wrong. The color he's describing is more crimson. The color it actually really is more port. And it looks more like the rendered picture of the thing. It's like, oh my God, why are you fuckers arguing with this guy like this? It's like, tell him to go shove it up his ass and don't feed the troll. Is rule number 1, right?
Well, don't have arguments like that you can't win. Like,
Thank you, Jeremiah.
there's no way to resolve it. It's like, I see, there is God, there isn't God. Well,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, if the other person's complaint is the color that I received on this thing is slightly different than the color named or pictured in the prototype, it's like, what are you gonna do about that? It's like, okay, so you think we promised port as a color and you got Merlot? Come the fuck on, right?
What he needs. The problem is that he does not have like a standardized, how to handle these things.
But yeah, and I wrote that for him tonight, basically.
Do you tell him to put up a little notice that says, colors in the image may vary slightly from,
Yes.
Whatever your stupid fucking eyes are interpreting.
Yes, exactly. So it won't happen
Well, there you
again. So it won't happen again. And what I told him also is to put in there, if you have any further questions about this, or if it's a problem, contact me directly via email, so that it stays off of like the forum conversation boards as a topic. Anytime somebody wants to make a controversy, they just go, man, the color's a little bit different, and all of a sudden they got a bunch of people chiming in as to what Jeffrey should have to do to remedy this problem. It's ridiculous.
So, RDL, it's number 19, son, and, Devil is 15. And the sun says, success, energy, and enlightenment come when the sun's energy radiates, bringing success to all your endeavors.
You're going to get to be enlightened. You're going to achieve enlightenment.
Yeah, we were just talking about
I've been
that
working towards enlightenment for years
Yeah.
now. I still can't get anywhere close to it.
You almost got it once or twice. Didn't you?
Yeah, that one time when I was on a lot of drugs, I guess. When you're fully thwacked out, I think a good name for a person who's fully thwacked out is Margaret Thatcher.
That is. Oh my god, that's a great Halloween costume.
Right now, I'm totally Margaret Thatcher.
That's so fucking great. Oh my god, I would love to be that for Halloween. Have your hair like all fucked up.
Meth addict Margaret Thatcher?
Yeah.
That would be a good Halloween
Isn't it?
costume. I mean, is that really that different from normal Margaret Thatcher?
No. Just like disheveled look. Same teeth though.
Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna
reading.
read Jeffrey Epstein's ghost.
Buy him a respectable, modest bottle of port and hand them that in with the art. So, the other thing to note about this is they were all good to go with what I said, but the dad, who's an ISTP, wanted to think about it some more. And
Alright, well you just take your time while drama's stirring up and, while the chat's burning. How about that?
And Jeffrey, being EP, said, okay, we'll call you back in 5 minutes. He said to me, like, he'll give his dad 5 minutes to think about it. Anyway, I guess, then they said, can we call you back in 20 minutes? I said, well, I'm live streaming right now, but yeah, okay. I really like this family. They're great, so I just can't help but.
Well, tell them to come into the autonomy room. Then yes, you can call me back, but you have to come in through this communication channel.
No, I don't ever try to put stipulations like that on them.
Who are these people?
They're my clients who are
Debate.
Yeah, well, I got one of their kids doing debate, and the other kid, I'm sort of a general purpose consultant for of sorts. Like I help him with his math logic homework, and they talk to me about his business and stuff. It's really starting to come together.
So you're just like the all-around family counsel.
Your mom calls me about like personal. Yeah, exactly.
How did you get to be the advisor to the Jeffrey family?
You know what? They trust me and think I'm wise, and I appreciate that so much. And it's always a delight to talk to them, because I never really make any progress because Jeffrey's mom's an ESTJ, so she's unipolar, but there's an earnest effort to try to find the best way to think about things and do things that I just really appreciate, and I appreciate their trust in me as a person to give advice. I don't know, it makes me feel good.
You got ISTP and ESTJ parents. Of course you can't make any fucking progress. You can't tell them nothing.
Well, I'm almost always talking to the ESTJ mom. And you gotta remember, this is you're sort of, I wouldn't call her textbook at all, but she falls under the category of tiger mom. Like, she expects her kids to, like, her daughter gets like second place in the violin contest. one of the big tragedies of recent years was Jeffrey got a B in one of his classes. It's pretty
Oh my
horrific.
God. These
Yeah,
poor kids.
but they're not for kids at all. They're super happy kids, and they're a super happy family, and they all love each other. And it's weird to see how it's weird.
Those are the worst ones.
It's super interesting to see the varying dynamics at odds with each other, and also the compromises they make between. It's like both the parents are from China, and have accents. Whereas the kids
Do the accent. What does their accent sound like?
It's not very heavy. They're pretty. They speak English. They don't speak English beautifully, but they have accents.
I can't imagine. My knees do that. Do the accent from SE. I can't.
I can't really do their accent. I don't really try to imitate.
I just want to know.
them. But I mean, when I think of the mom's accent, I think of her answering the phone, exacerbatingly hearing her go, "Oh, are you available? Do you have time?" So, anyway, I really appreciate the family, and it's like they hang out with fancy people. Like this new boyfriend that they don't like apparently has conducted the LA Phil a few times prior to when they were playing in it, but and is now a fairly like high powered attorney or something. So it's weird that that these fancy people turn to me of all people for advice and stuff. And they know about all my vices and everything. It's not like I'm hiding who I am from them at all either. So even though they're who they are, and you might expect certain things, if I go, I can't right now, I'm on my way to the weed store, it's probably gonna say if I'm on my way to the weed store. It's like
they like that. They respect it.
You're like the Rasputin of the Jeffrey family.
Yeah, except I'm not having sex with all of the women.
The tall, indulgent maniac comes in from out of the wilderness and.
Well, the thing is, I do my best to give good advice and stuff, and it's like I'm much better at advising other people than I am at running my own life.
Well, one's easy, and one just takes understanding. The other one takes understanding and discipline. That's
a good point. That's the insight there, Taylor.
That's the part that fucks you up.
That is some good insight. Let's pull a card for Taylor. Is this it?
Well, I'm a good advisor to the advisor.
Taylor, this is the card you got. The Six of Cups. You know what that means?
Chug a six-pack.
It means you've got 6 cups worth of good cheer in front of you. Hi, come on in, Dad. Need some help?
Not tonight, but I got the email totally screwed up. I don't know what happened. I tried to contact my buddy Richard, and I can't. His address is. What happens when I put to this in, comes up with Ronnie's cell, and that's supposed to be. That has nothing to do with that. Well, but then Ronnie, what do I do with that?
Just type in their name. You just start typing their name and their email will come up. So if you want to email
Well,
Richard...
see, that is totally, no, that's the run north. I don't know how we got that.
Here, let me go back there. Okay, so look. Let's go back to the compose, right?
Yeah.
You just start typing a name, and it will give you choices, okay? Since you only have one Richard, it only gives you one choice. But since you have more than one Ron, it'll give you more than one choice.
But how do I fix it so I can get rid of some of this stuff?
Or you want to eliminate people from your contacts?
Well, I want to address. All right, let's go back here. I want to remove so that I can. Okay. So I go in RON, and then I get this run ye cell, which is wrong. This is okay.
Okay, so then you just push this one then.
But how do I fix this so then they call, I don't.
This is, if you're, this is not his cell phone. This is an email address that's also named Ron Ye Cell.
Okay, if I want to send something in the text.
To the text. Then text him. Don't email him.
And that goes to his phone.
Yeah.
Okay, which doesn't say, how can I get rid of this?
Well, okay, let's see.
Okay, I already got the contact. I put the contact, if you look up there, you will see that I have the contact.
Okay, so.
Okay, look up Ron Ye.
Ron Ye Cell. Now, do you want to edit this?
See, this is the proper address. I typed it in and I saved it. And it should reflect on something, but it doesn't.
Oh, I see. So your online thing hasn't updated yet. Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it. Do we have to go to Earthlink and?
No. This is, look. You have a contact that is wrong in your Gmail right now, and it hasn't synced with your phone. The change you made with your phone yet. I'm not quite sure how to do that right now.
I don't either. That's the point.
But it will. If it hasn't synced by itself tomorrow, I will fix it. Okay.
Well, okay, what we need to do is, as you point out, if I need to use it, I type in the name.
Yeah.
And it goes, and then we're okay.
Yeah.
So I can reach Richard.
Yeah. And if the sync doesn't, we'll check again in the morning. If the sync hasn't happened by itself, I'll fix it. Okay.
Because I updated it, it should.
It should sync by itself, but it may take a little time to do that.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. If it hasn't though, then I will fix it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Now, all right, we'll deal with it in the morning. I can get to them both of them now.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So it says in the book, Six of Cups is a time for giving.
Sorry, everybody. Sometimes I got to be tech support to the octogenarian.
Yeah.
In this case, though, he actually had a good question. He had a real problem, right? It was like, why isn't the change I saved on my phone syncing to the email? And the thing is, flow state, you may say you're not a very nostalgic person, but I bet you nevertheless have a lot of attachment to the compilation of things you've done, your stories, your past, the anecdotes you can tell that reveal who you are, stuff like that. I'm sorry if I interrupted you, darling.
You didn't.
Did you know that this is brewed for the wonderful world of leisure? It says so right on the box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that's true, Taylor. I don't think I place a lot of value on on my stories. I think I use a lot of stories as examples for things, for concepts. There are a few sort of memories that I put in my ego spank bank, I guess. I enjoy revisiting the memory of me talking to the city of Pomona about why they should pay me for their cop hitting me with the butt of their gun. Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't watch them, though. So it seems instrumental, right? Like, I'm envisioning them potentially having value as a resource, but I don't actually value them as a resource. And being better about SI for me has been... I've been retaining less. Well, I mean, I think that just shows a weak relationship with SI. You know, my dad's pretty good about eliminating certain kinds of objects from our life periodically. Well, we need a trip to Savers. We're going to take this stuff down. He maintains a fairly constant amount of stuff. It's a well-used function, but it's still instrumentally valued. So he has a bunch of photo albums. He never looks at them. He'd make them and then put them away. They're just valued as a resource so he can access them if he needed to, right? Versus actually valuing it as some sort of cherished part of yourself. So it's like the moistest moments of my sentient saline solution of self are my most precious inner tears. Okay? Which is to say, I value FI a lot. I value my feelings. Taylor, I value your feelings too. I want you and I to sit shoulder to shoulder and feel together. I want us to just sit like this. Hey buddy, hey bro. And just feel each other like this. With our FI. What do you think? This is some heterosexual FI, we'll say. You too, Legends Paul. You're an ESTP. You can get in on this action too. You know you want some. Rub FIs together. Yeah, we're a rub FI. We're going to pretend like we're INFPs. We just sit there and go like this. I really like you.
I really like you too.
There's two INFPs liking each other. So yeah, anyway, Norm Macdonald died not that long ago, and some of his jokes I like a lot. Some of them I think are a little self-indulgent. He carries on or whatever. Some of them work less well than others, but he's a very funny joke writer. His gay pride joke is hilarious. Proud of your gay son. That joke is just completely hilarious. His moth joke is hilarious, if you've not seen it. Nostalgia sneaks up on you. You know what? I'd like us all to try. I'd like us all to practice saying yes, nostalgia. C18, hello.
Yes, nostalgia.
I'm tired of all the negativity.
Me too.
Last I checked, Jeremiah fixed, bong rips were not indicative of the end of the stream.
No, they are not. Would you like another beer?
Actually, I still have some left. Thanks. Yeah, if you're gonna get them. Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
That sounds like a good idea. I might want to eat some of that quarter pounder there, too.
Oh, you should. I ate the rest of my bison burger this afternoon. It was delicious.
Cool. See, I'm kind of weird. My dad got bison the other day, along with regular burgers. We got ground bison, so we made a couple of bison burgers. If you gave that to me and just didn't tell me it was bison, I would just eat it and think nothing of it.
Yeah.
But knowing that it was bison made me not want to eat it.
I know.
It's like, I don't know about this meat. This isn't the meat I eat normally. I eat cows. What's up with this?
There, yeah. I was like, I didn't want to have that. I knew I wanted a burger, not the steak. So I was like, alright, I'll just have a bison burger.
Yeah, it was kind of a disaster. That was a grilling disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but it was definitely not my finest moment at the grill, because the one thing I didn't check, I got everything we needed, except I didn't realize I didn't have that much charcoal left. I needed more charcoal. So I tried to start with the charcoal I had plus a piece of wood, which kind of made everything taste like redwood smoke. Kind of tasted like the fires in the National Sequoia Park right now. But, you know, my dad was happy. We all got together. We had a family meow meow. If you'd like to see the family meow meow, I could link you to it. It's only like 30 seconds long. I'll link you guys the family meow meow. Yeah, wood burns, Winston's mom. You can use it as a fuel. Back in the olden days, a lot of people cooked on it. You'd be amazed how well it burns. Wood, that is. In case you were curious about what I was talking about. I'm talking about wood. What? What you talking about, Eric? I'm talking about wood. Are you really talking about wood? Oh, yeah. I am talking about wood. Do not try to deny it. I just wish everyone would stop trying to deny that I'm talking about wood. Meow the meow. Meow the meow. Ooh, look at that sexy cleavage. If you would like a rare opportunity to look down Rachel's shirt, here it is. And you'll say, wow, Eric, you are a lucky, lucky man. And you will be correct about that.
I'm a lucky lady.
It wasn't raw wood. It was dried, cured wood. I mean, it was ready to burn. It had been sitting out waiting to be firewood for a long time. So it wasn't just green wood or something. But it was unfortunately not a good kind of wood to cook over. Yeah, the big house has a fireplace, but my dad doesn't like to use the fireplace.
So it hasn't been used in a very long time.
You know, fireplaces are, from his perspective, it's basically a thing that then you have to clean and worry about fire risks and or other random ESCJ complaints. I don't know. It's the sort of thing that my mom likes, so she'd put it on. She'd say, "Let's have a fire." We used to have a wood pile in the back, you know, where I was frequently warned, "Careful, there's black widows in there."
Ooh, that's good to know.
You got a Frank James ad on this stream? I better get a piece of that action. Frank James, I'm making you right now with all this coverage I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm.
Without me, nobody would know about you. So it's all thanks to my recent couple of Frank James videos. Why is he advertising? Does he really need to advertise?
My fragile lungs don't like it. The ad, that is.
Woo, that's a bell ringer right there. They're not fragile, they're just enthusiastically interactive. Okay? You brought a chainsaw. Fantastic. We have a chainsaw here. We have an electric chainsaw.
I'm not going anywhere near that.
Now, what's funny is before I knew we had an electric chainsaw, the day before I saw we had one, Cameron came over and told a story about how if we ever use an electric chainsaw, we should be extremely careful because it's like
The easiest thing
you could possibly
hurt
do is
yourself with.
to kill yourself with or hurt
Yeah.
yourself with. So,
chop off a limb with. He said it's very easy to do that.
so I'm a little sketched out about it, you know. But
Well, good luck with that. They're pretty fucking fun. Although I don't know if an electric one's as fun as a gas one. I mean, I know it's not as fun. I guess I don't know the fun reduction in having gas powered or having a cord attached to your tools.
well, whatever
Like
the
if
fun
you
reduction
get-
is, let's say 30%, you get to minus 5% from that because it's probably not quite as punishingly loud.
But that's part of the fun.
Hurting your ears is never fun, Taylor.
Well, it doesn't hurt your ears because you don't have a vagina with sand in it.
You should wear ear
And because
protection.
You spent your whole childhood listening to your Limp Bizkit turned up to 10 on the Discman.
Well, despite not listening to any really Limp Bizkit, I did do it all for the nookie.
Well, you didn't grow up in the late 90s.
That's true. Why don't people who find themselves in ambulance requiring emergencies think about the impacts of whirring sirens on my sanity? How selfish.
Why don't people who produce rap songs think about the effects of siren sound effects in their music on my driving?
Right. Is that the cops? Okay, it's just a song. Well, it's the same thing with songs and television shows that have the sound of phones buzzing. They always make me check my phone.
Yeah.
So, how are things going in Kansas, Taylor?
Oh, they're all right, you know. Broadly, I'd say my state is the better of the two right now, which hasn't always historically been the case, but yeah.
Is the wheat as high as an elephant's eye?
I haven't seen an elephant in a long time, or wheat really. I don't live that Kansas City of Kansas.
Is it really easy to get cheap wheat in Kansas?
I wonder what the price difference is.
You're like, I got a pound of wheat, please. They have it as like a condiment at all the drive-thrus in Kansas. They just sprinkle raw weed on the shit.
Oliver Linehan makes a good point. Kansas combines two cool things: cans and ass.
That's true, but I'd like to just reestablish here. I'm a Missourian.
Oh, you're no longer in Kansas.
I'm from the Missouri side of the Kansas City border. I hated Kansas my whole life. I moved to Kansas. The only reason I stayed in Kansas is it was illegal for me to leave. And now we're kind of like, well, this has got a good school district here. I guess I could leave now. But
So, when you arrived in Missouri, did you say, "Show me, I'm here"?
when I was born, I did. I screamed that in the doctor's face.
I'm a born and bred Missourian, motherfucker. Show me. So you're a native-born Missourian, huh?
I am.
Does that make you inherently more skeptical, being from the Show Me state?
It means that we love company.
Oh.
That's nice.
How did you know that Missouri is the Show Me state, by the way? Well, I don't know what California... Oh, the Sunshine State? Is that
The
right?
Golden State.
The Golden State.
Florida's the Sunshine State.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you know all the state's little things?
No, but I think I know Missouri because it's got a funny one. Just like I know New Hampshire is live free or die, you know?
I did not know that, but...
I didn't know that either.
That's pretty gangster.
I also I think I know Virginia because Virginia is for lovers, which is just silly. It's such a silly phrase. So, I know the silly ones. Or the weird ones, you know, that stick in your mind. I wonder what New Mexico is. Oh, it's the land of enchantment.
New Mexico's land of enchantment?
They kind of like took a lot of territory with that claim, didn't they?
The land of enchantment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. I guess they get all the magic in New Mexico.
Gotta go there.
Weirdly, New Jersey is the Garden State. I always thought that was
it is
strange.
the Garden State. Yeah.
Apparently, most of it's not like the parts of New Jersey featured in The Sopranos.
That's like northern.
I've heard New Jersey is like, bruh.
It's bruh?
I have no idea. I have relatives who live there and they like it, but they live in northern Jersey. Jersey's like long. Atlantic City's there, you know. So there's like definitely like, I don't know. I used to call it the armpit of America. I do feel bad about that, but it is what it is.
You get the feeling that New Jersey's all about showing respect. And,
Yeah.
You know,
Show
what are you
respect.
doing? You come
The
over here, you need to show
boss.
some respect.
Yeah, and the boss.
Hey,
is
hey.
thirsty.
Don't come around here disrespecting New Jersey.
I feel like Bon Jovi is. I am Italian, Octavio Silva. If you're from New York, there's a good chance that you're half Italian or half Irish.
I'm neither Italian nor Irish.
No.
I'm fluidly transracial.
Yes, this is true.
My Ancestry.com continues to communicate with me saying, we can't get a handle on what race you are because your blood genome keeps shifting.
I actually am also Irish. I'm like
Arr.
a small percentage.
You're Rachel McLapalosa. Anybody's Irish, just put a Mick in front of their name. If my name were Eric McStrauss, I'd be Irish.
Yeah, my mom's maiden name is McCurgan.
Can we all commit right now, forevermore, to Autonomy booted you? Oh, sorry. I guess it's back to doing that thing that it used to do. Let's go to the Eric Strauss room then. It's his fucking thing. Go to my room / Eric Strauss. Close your eyes. Holding my cock, darling. Can you feel my heart beating? Do you understand? Meow, 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 meow. Or am I only dreaming? Yeah, well, we can go to the TWFP room. It doesn't have any time limit. It's a mess. I don't know. I use Google Meet now, which I have the pay version of that and this, and it's just like, okay. TE, fuck you. You know, that's basically what I feel about this, is TE, fuck you. If you like TE like I like TE, then you don't like it at all. Eric Strauss. Eric Strauss. One of my family stories.
Back.
Hi, Taylor. One of my family stories is apparently I was on a kids game show when I was like 3 years old. I don't remember the experience myself. Yeah, but apparently I was on there. And the guy called me up on the stage, asked me my name, and I said it was Eric Strauss. And he said, Larry Strauss or whatever? And I said, Eric Strauss! And I said it a couple more times, I got mad, and then I guess one of my parents stood up and said, Eric Strauss.
I feel like that game show host should have been prepared for this situation a little better.
I mean, it was like,
What
it
does
was probably like
someone-
1974. It was probably like a $500 budget or something for this fucking thing, you know?
I'm glad that someone
$500 back then.
announced your name.
Yeah, well, I guess they expect the kid to be able to say their own name, you know?
Yeah.
Which is
I
fair.
guess that's reasonable. It's pretty low standard of expectation that
Well,
you fail.
I mean, that's assuming your name doesn't have 2 hard R's in it, like mine does.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put 2 hard R's in you move.
Eric Strauss.
Eric Strauss.
It's a really kind of name. You
Yeah,
know?
it is.
It certainly doesn't
Do you
roll
think
off
in
the
a
tongue.
past life you were a pirate?
I think in a past life I had a cool name. And this life I got stuck with Eric Strauss. It's just such a boring name.
I like your name.
I wish my
It
name
makes
were...
for a cool last name too, like Strauss.
Strauss is
Strauss.
fine, but my first name should be Dragonclaw.
Dragonclaw is much better.
Dragonclaw
You're right.
Strauss
I
is
don't
a
know.
cool name.
Eric is a pretty good name for like the white only child of a doctor.
That's what Eric is.
I mean,
So it fits him.
Oh my god!
it's a lot better than if my name were Bradley Worthington.
Your name could be Taylor, and you can spend your whole life beating about 5 times as many chicks with your name as dudes.
That's true.
Hmm.
My middle name is one of those. It's Dale.
I've never met a female Dale.
What about Dale Evans?
Never heard of a female Dale.
Dale Evans. Dale Evans is the famous girl
Car
partner.
driver, right?
No, that's Dale Earnhardt.
Oh.
I think you're mixing that up with Danica Patrick.
No,
Yeah, Danica Patrick. That's who I was getting.
Dale. What's
I
her
probably
name?
just assumed it was a dude because it's a dude name.
Dale Evans.
You named your children Eric and Taylor, so you must be brilliant. You must be Winston's mom. Winston's
Yes.
mom names her children Eric and Taylor. What she doesn't mention is she named the girl Taylor, but still, pretty good.
You know what? I found a way to turn it into a challenge for myself.
I mean, no one's going to accuse you of being too effeminate, Taylor.
And guess what? I got on way more female Taylors than dudes do.
Yeah, have you slept with Taylors before?
Yeah, and it actually became a thing for me. Like if I met a Taylor chick and she wasn't fugly, then like I had to at least try.
Well, you had an automatic little quirky thing to begin with. We're both Taylor.
Right, exactly. It's like if you're out somewhere and you meet a bunch of people, like who knows? Maybe this chick would not have been the one I pursued. Maybe that one would have. But if a chick was named Taylor, it's like you're the winner.
You know, I've always been that way about chicks named Eric. I haven't met any yet, but when I do, I am gonna go straight after that one. Hey, Eric. I can't believe your name's Eric. You're a real girl,
Maybe
right?
you could start calling Rachel Eric.
I could just start calling her Eric, yeah.
That sounds so like codependent.
I think that's more narcissistic.
It's a little narcissistic, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
it's narc dependent.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, never mind.
Okay, so the important thing I wanted to talk about though today is we need to reach consensus on the fact that flightless birds don't exist. As the president of the Debunking Society for the existence of flightless birds, I want to stress that obviously there's no such thing as flightless birds. So what's happening then? What about ostriches? What about emus? Clearly, they are like Sasquatches, except just about their flying time. So basically, they know when you're looking and they stay on the ground. When nobody's looking, that's when they fly. I got a number of pictures of what it could be. It's super possible. Could be flying ostriches and emus.
We don't need to discuss them until we've covered the elephant in the room, which is penguins.
Okay.
I've always thought penguins are sort of more like fish.
Not birds.
Anyway.
Correct. Your instincts were right on the money, Taylor. That's one of the key elements, one of our key axioms here at the Society for the Debunking of Flightless Birds. If penguins were birds, they would be an example of a flightless bird. Fine. The reason they are not flightless birds is because they are fish.
Okay.
Now, let's
I've
get
always
back.
felt like that was the right way to classify them. I'm just glad to have the validation now.
Yeah, well, you were right. Your instincts, your intuition was smarter than science. Now.
Yeah, fuck you, taxonomy.
Now, listen, emus, ostriches of the world, if you're watching this video, I'm on to you. And if you want me to stop revealing these secrets, then I want a ride on one of your ostrich or emu sky chariots. Alright, look. If we can't come to an agreement on penguins, then we just compromise. Half the penguins are mammals, half the penguins are fish, none of them are birds.
There's definitely no mammals there. Because they lay eggs.
Those aren't really eggs, Taylor. Those are newborn penguins. Okay? They just start off with a hard shell.
They haven't lost their exoskeleton yet.
Well, that's just their early stage of development, is they're oval and egg-shaped and look like an egg.
Maybe they're insects. Maybe like big fucking beetles.
Now, that's possible, too. Penguins clearly could be a form of insect. And, in fact, I'm pretty sure they're arachnids. It's just that you can't really see most of their legs.
I heard that over the centuries, the millennia, they've evolved to where like their 8 things kind of mash into the 2 flippers and then 6. Their wings are actually like 6.
Right,
fused.
there's fusion. Right, it's a fusion thing. I'm also quite taken by the millipede theory, which is that penguins are actually millipedes, but you just can't see most of their legs. Yeah, you can't see 900.
I didn't know that was the case with millipedes.
Yeah, you can't see 996 of their legs. But,
Oh, right.
but nevertheless, they're a form of millipede.
Legs.
And you know what's interesting is if you go out and check and you count the millipedes, they all have exactly 1,000 legs. True story.
They should really give us like some honorary science degrees and
Mm-hmm.
shit by now.
If you want, let's say, 10,700 legs, you can get that most easily in life by gathering 10 millipedes and 7 centipedes. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the decapede, but
I was just about to ask, do they make a decapede?
yes, a little known species of insect called the decapede that has exactly 10 legs is also available. And but the decapede is actually two syncopedes combined. So if a male and a female syncopede mate together for life and fuse and form one decapede. But you can get them separated as fives. There used to be.
Does that mean spiders are just that spiders are actually octopedes?
Yes, that does mean that.
So they're all part of the centipede family, right?
There used to be bipeds, but people rarely used them, so they stopped making them. And now when you get them, you pin them on your
Not to
bulletin
be
board.
confused with bipenes, as in two penises.
Or ball peen hammers, which are hammers meant to smash balls and penises. The worst kind of hammers, in my opinion. I can't believe they designed hammers specifically for that purpose.
Definitely a cruel invention.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
We've entered
It's also a fetish niche, I've heard. Not my fetish, but dudes who like having their balls and peens smashed.
I hope they mean it in the colloquial youth culture sense of I'm gonna smash that. Octavia Silver has complimented your 8th slot extroverted intuition, Taylor.
Thank you, Octavia.
If I were mean, I'd say, but she's got polar NE, so what does she know?
Is that, I've had my NE complimented several times throughout the years, and always in this context where like you and I are just like rolling shitballs at each other.
Yeah, well, I tend to. If you're in a good mood, it depends on Taylor's mood, right? If you're in a good mood, I can get you playing catch with me. Okay, we're doing this thing. All right.
And that is how it feels. I tell people, like every time I hear that, I tell people I'm just hitting the tennis ball back.
Right. Oliver Lineham brings up a good point. Emus have made headway and corrupted the democratic institutions of Australia in ways that I don't think any of us fully understand yet.
You know what's corrupted the institutions of Australia is their whole fucking government. It's shit's crazy right now over there.
Is it? I don't know what's
Oh my
going on in
God.
Australia.
Neither do I.
Oh yeah, no. They've got, especially in like Sydney, they've got the world's most extreme lockdowns going on. Over one case, not even a death, one single case of coronavirus, and they locked everything down. They've said the latest and little announcement is that construction workers now have a week to get fully vaccinated, or you can't work construction. So that turned into protests that have turned into an excuse for the government to basically bring the military. They also just announced that that coverage of the protest is not allowed, and they're grounding helicopters and planes so that they can't take aerial footage of it. Like,
That's kind of crazy.
they're completely choking the fuck out of their own citizens, and doing it kind of in your face too. Like one single positive case. This shit ain't about a virus, I'm telling you.
Okay, well, Taylor, I don't want you to talk about COVID on this live stream because
Alright, yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Alright.
So anyway, what is the topic of the stream anyway? Good typology versus bad typology. I put up my manifesto today, which was basically saying typology should remember its core enemy is Big Five. even though we may battle among ourselves. The reason
I had
typology
no
is
idea that was our core enemy.
well, the reason typology is better is because it describes people as processes rather than as attributes that they don't have that are held up as values to uphold. So it's like, according to Big Five, the implicit message of Big Five is that if I'm a really good person, I'm both very conscientious and agreeable and open and extroverted and not neurotic. Without acknowledging
I don't think Big Five assesses quantitative judgments like that.
qualitative.
Or qualitative.
No, not explicitly. No, it doesn't do so explicitly. What I'm saying is, that's the implied frame based on the language that they're using. If you choose to call an attribute conscientiousness,
So you're adding your interpretations.
no, I'm saying like, for example, conscientiousness and openness both have positive connotations, right? And they may both may in fact both be legitimate ways in which you can describe people, okay? But to understand either of them correctly is to acknowledge that there's some relationship beyond just mutual coexistence between the two. In other words, that a certain amount of openness undermines conscientiousness, and a certain amount of conscientiousness undermines openness. That's what makes the Big Five normative and typology non-normative. The typology acknowledges there's always trade-offs. There's no individual who's super accomplished in that area in life attentionally, in which there's not a corresponding deficit.
Typology has the same trade-offs.
What does?
Typology.
No, I'm saying typology. No, I'm saying no. I'm saying typology has those trade-offs. Big Five doesn't.
Right. Well, they're not. I guess specifically connected that way, but functionally, I mean, have you ever seen it? Well, no.
I mean, it doesn't.
You ever seen somebody that's? So you want them to be explicitly connected?
Well, I'm saying it doesn't explain why, right? And nor
I guess I don't know enough about Big Five to answer that.
It doesn't, okay? It doesn't explain why. It simply says the best that we can do if we want to stick purely to replicatable experiential data or experimental data is that we can describe these particular traits and we can seem to consistently measure them with these kinds of questions such that they seem to be measuring the same thing in each person. Of course, there's.
Well, I appreciate Big Five's like sticking to not overreaching. It's just not the norm with science. Honestly, scientists, whatever, research.
I mean, the thing is, I think it is overreaching because it claims to be an explanation of personality or something about personality, but in fact, it doesn't even acknowledge the core element of what it means to be a personality type, which is a personality at all, which is the aspects of the self that don't change over time. In fact, they sort of changed the definition of personality in order to make room for Big Five.
You don't think that those variables change? Wait, what changes over time? The aspects of say that again about what personality is.
The personality should be those aspects of Taylor that are unique to you, but that persist across time. That they don't change throughout your life, barring some substantial accident or something. So, like,
I mean, you don't think that all the most core parts of your personality evolve? You're not every bit as...
No, I mean, all you have to do is watch the video of me at 17 years old that's up on my channel, and you'll see I am the exact same guy.
Well, that just means that you're stunted.
It doesn't. It means that in substantial ways, regarding how I approach questions and how I deal with things, I use the same intentional
You're still Eric Swaus. You're 3.
Okay. Jeff Shaw... Did you happen to watch my manifesto video today? Perhaps the best way to answer that question, or before you ask that question, or before I bother to answer it, please do watch that video and see what you think, and then maybe you might want to rephrase your questions, or you might consider them answered. I'm not sure.
What a C.S. Josephy way of of responding to something.
Except I'm not referring to him to a book. I'm referring to him to a video I put out today that's under 10
If
minutes
you
long.
watch season 3, episode 21, subsection A, blah blah blah, and
Look, but this is Jeff Shaw. The other thing to remember is Jeff Shaw has come in here on multiple occasions before, and his primary goal is to show that he's wiser than I am and has some grand truth that he needs to tell me.
Jeff Shaw, come to this Werribee room so that you can do that properly over voice. It's more likely that way.
I mean, typology is a description of how humans be. And why. It explains both how and why people express differently from each other, but not uniquely so. Why there are certain patterns of expression that correlate with others and fail to correlate with still others. It explains why even as things happen experientially in your life to change lots of things about you and lots of things about how you feel change from moment to moment, and what you think changes from decade to decade and so forth, that regardless you're still fundamentally the same person you were when you were a little kid, when you were 10 years old, when you're 20 years old, when you're 50 years old. There's an aspect of you that remains the same throughout it all. And typology explains that. It explains those aspects of the self that are the same as some other configuration of those same attentional manners, despite different experiences. Is that concise enough? I mean,
it does have a nice, like, complete and enclosed system quality to it.
My philosophy would then be defined as we are born of a certain nature. Well, I mean, you might infer that from what I just said, but in fact, my claim is I don't know exactly how and when a person's cognitive function stack comes into being, so to speak. I do believe it's very young. I'm not sure if it's at birth. And I'm not sure why or how it comes into being. I don't have any explanation for that. I don't claim to have any explanation for that. I only claim to explain what is, not how it came to be.
2 to 5, from 2 to 5 is my best guess.
I mean,
those are the years where your brainwaves are in, I think it's a theta state, which is the same state as hypnosis. So you spend those years basically just hypnotized, absorbing your surroundings.
In one of my earliest memories, I'm trying to sing a Christmas song in the back of my parents' VW bus. And concurrently, my next door neighbor Chad is trying to sing a different Christmas song. So I sing louder and he sings louder. Okay? And then I pick up a rock that we got from the beach that's in the back of the van and I hit him over the head with it.
I love that story.
That's one of my earliest memories. Know what's happening there. I'm trying to extrovertedly intuit.
You are not intuiting there. Singing a song is not an intuitive action.
Okay, fine. Now, note, of course, I don't remember whether I was singing it word for word, in which case it would still be putting information on the external metaphysical field. I'm vocalizing.
No, it's not information.
A song is information. Yes, a song is information.
You're filling in gaps in your holy SI. Your SI had holes and you just improvised. That's not new information.
Okay, it's information, though.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's filler. It's nothing. There is no information in there. It's not a word. It's not right. It's not a memory. It's at best, it's shit SI because it mimics a memory of the sound.
So, Mary had a little lamb, and hot cross buns. Hot cross buns are the same thing.
Word you don't remember.
So wait, Mary had a little lamb and hot cross buns are the same thing?
Sing the example. Like Mary had a little lamb and
Mary had a little lamb. Mary and she's white as snow. Something. Is that how it goes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the other one is hot cross buns. Meow 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 meow. The point is, they're different songs, right?
Right. So were you singing a Christmas song, or were you making a made-up song with Christmas shit in it?
Okay, listen to me though. The point is, regardless of what we want to call it cognitive function-wise, forget the name. Forget the name of it for a second. What I was doing was putting information onto the external metaphysical field.
Okay. You were creating something new on the external field. I don't know.
I didn't say it was new. I didn't say anything about newness.
I don't know how you define information, but you did not create. Yeah, I mean, it's just not an intuitive process. It's pure memory.
Rendering a song is putting information.
What you are engaged in is recalling something you've experienced and mimicking it. So it's only new in time.
It doesn't have to be new to be information. I can tell you something you don't know, and that's information. I can tell you something you already know. It's still information.
Okay, so if I write my phone number on the wall, did I just do any activity?
Put your phone number on the wall? No,
Yeah,
listen. Were you paying attention by extroverted intuition? No.
What was I paying attention by?
Extroverted sensing and introverted sensing.
But I created new information.
No, you didn't. You put information on the external field. Yes. So
Okay,
in other words,
so
you're not working with me on this, right? We need to agree on what we agree on first, so that we can proceed forward.
Okay.
What we agree on is that in both those instances,
explain your bullshit, and I'll be more cooperative.
What we can agree on is that in both those instances, we were putting information on the external field, right?
But information is not a necessarily. It's not
You're not even trying.
aspect.
You're not
it's
even
not
trying.
any aspect. Information elements. They're all about information.
That's information, Taylor.
I'm not looking at the screen. Do I need to be?
Yeah, you'd need to be.
The picture you did.
No, it's just me waving my arms around. The point is, data that somebody perceives, it is classified as information or non-information accordingly by how they attend. Okay? So in other words, what kind of information you consume links very strongly to what kind of attention is your default manner of paying attention. In fact, it is wrong to consider the socionics notion that all information is metabolized by cognitive functions, because that's not the relationship that every given function has to information. Some functions produce information, some functions metabolize or deliberate about information, some functions engage in an interface or handshake process between experiential data and abstract representations, and some functions receive information unbidden, unwillfully. Those are knowledge functions.
Okay, so which one does NE do?
It puts information.
Okay, that's absolutely in opposition to Jung and everybody after him, because it's an observation. It's an external perceiving function.
Okay, so it's extroverted sensing. So doesn't extroverted sensing do things in the external world? Doesn't the impact of the impact of a person paying attention by extroverted sensing engage the external world?
So in my view, yes, absolutely. Once you evolve past Jung's very basic beginning, yeah, of course, the main realm of your information intake is also going to be where you primarily.
I'm genuinely not very interested in Jung or socionics or whatever those kind of things are. What I'm trying to say is, this is the correct explanation.
I'm not interested in anything that's contradicting what I'm saying.
No. But listen to me. Whether it agrees with Jung or socionics or whatever, what I'm explaining is my attempt to correctly explain how human beings attend, but also to acknowledge that to model an open system is to produce a system that can be called a closed system, which is to say, in other words, if we want to represent putting information in a closed system simulation, listen to me before you respond. Listen before you respond.
I'm about to tap out. I'm telling you I can see. because I assumed that they were connected. But if you're just making your own system with not
No,
being attached
no,
to
no,
them, I don't
it's Taylor. You're wrong. What I'm saying is, Jung, socionics, everybody is trying to map the same thing. There's one correct way to do it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And that
So,
we can
as far
derive
as
that not
intuition
because
goes,
it's not my system. Remember that. There's no Eric system. There's a bunch of people who are trying to describe the same thing. Jung, socionics, MBTI, DSP, whatever, right? And they're all trying to describe the same thing. To the extent they disagree, it's because they're one of them or all of them is wrong in their descriptions. So we need to resolve, even if you don't like my ideas, even if you don't like my ideas, we need to resolve that one map is correct to the exclusion of all others. Then it's just horoscopes otherwise. If we're not actually mapping something that can be mapped meaningfully in discrete terms with operationalized definitions that can be simulated to make predictions,
let me put it
can be
this
falsified,
way.
then we're not doing anything meaningful.
Yes, there is one system that is correct to the exclusion of all others. However, we are not near close enough to understanding cognition that we're going to find that, right? Like, you're not right.
Taylor, listen, I already get that you're not going to concede that I'm right about this no matter what. As long as you concede that...
I'm not right, so
hold on. As long as we're in agreement that there is a single correct way to model it and others that deviate from that are wrong, that's progress as far as I'm concerned, and I don't need to go any further into that, okay? I know the argument about why I'm right, which has been articulated in various chunks in various places, requires you to afford it a level of attention I don't think you're willing to afford it. And I don't blame you. I mean, there's lots of things...
I've been paying attention to typology for at least half a decade, and I'm pretty confident when I say that if you think that singing a Christmas song, is extroverted intuition...
You didn't ever let me finish my point about that, Taylor. You never let me finish what I was going to say about that, okay?
Well, you never finished what you're saying.
No, because you interrupted and you assumed I was going to say that was extroverted intuition.
You talk until you're done, and then tell me when you're done and I can talk.
I'm done, okay? I'm done talking with you about this, because... Listen, the fact is...
Did you hear my thing about how I think that...
You're determined to dispute what I'm saying without listening to me.
Okay,
I've already determined this.
Your turn. Tell me when you're done.
Listen, Taylor, if you want to have a meaningful model of something, there are certain criteria that must be met for that model to qualify as meaningful, okay? It needs to make predictions that can either falsify or run consistent with the model. Okay, that's number one rule, right? Second,
say that again. Sorry.
If you're going to model something that's complicated, a dynamic system, and you want your model to be meaningfully validated, then it needs to make predictions, right?
Agree. Okay. Yeah, agree.
And have means by which it can be falsified. Correct?
Yes.
And the goal of anybody mapping such a dynamic system then should be to establish those elements that render it into an actual objective map of things. Additionally, there's a component that says one way that we validate models of dynamic systems is to run simulations based on the model's mechanics. Okay? So if in fact we are going to model it, in the simulation of it, not necessarily in the most nuanced model explanation of it, but in the simulation of it, we're going to have to designate a one-to-one correspondence between certain information, establishing certain kinds of objects in certain fields as being representative of name. Okay? Even though that may be a less nuanced than reality mechanical explanation of it, if it simulates out, then it would suggest that in fact it's basically the right thing. It would break down at some point because it's not quite as nuanced.
So can I repeat what you said back to you so that I make sure that I'm understanding you this far correctly?
Okay.
In models, things have to represent things.
No, I said if we want to have a model that means something, it needs to be falsifiable.
Okay, falsifiable. Okay.
The second thing is, for dynamic systems that we're modeling, we need to try to simulate the dynamic system that we're modeling. Therefore, the model needs to have mechanics that allow simulation.
Okay, so the model has to be testable. The hypothesis has to be testable, basically.
And I've provided two different mechanisms by which that testing normally occurs for dynamic systems that are being modeled.
Dynamic as opposed to a static system, like schematic.
Or basketball. Basketball is a static system in the sense that the rules aren't subject to change. It's always the same rules. The dynamism is within a stable frame, whereas people learn. So, for example, if you do the Milgram test on people who've never heard of it, you might get certain kinds of responses. If you do the Milgram test on people who learned about it in a psychology class, it won't work at all because people are open systems and can change their status quo based on new information.
So you're saying that typology is a dynamic system because humans are dynamic?
No, I'm saying human beings are dynamic systems, and therefore modeling them requires us to acknowledge foremost a model is a representation of something that is therefore necessarily has static elements to it, which limits its capacity to be the territory. Maps are not the territory; they represent the territory.
Typology is a static model
Of a dynamic system.
The object are.
Yes, it's a static model of a dynamic system.
Players in it, basically.
It's a static model of a dynamic system.
Okay.
And being a static model of a dynamic system is very challenging because the individuals within the dynamic system can change the rules for themselves through knowledge, okay? Now, the thing about that is, of course, that's why you have to have, to correctly simulate or model this, a prime directive. In other words, every type configuration needs to represent a meow of meowing, okay? In order for us to successfully simulate it. In other words, you need a prime directive or a single axiomatic frame under which everything collapses. And that axiomatic frame, as I've established it, is that people want to keep the distance between their maps and territories close. In other words, you want the life you live to be basically what you expect it to be most of the time. And that when people experience stark distinctions between their map and territory, it typically causes trauma. Now, look, the thing is, that observation about that being a prime directive is something I didn't make up or anything. I got it from some super genius guy who everybody says is a super genius, okay?
I trust you more than I trust some super genius 3 times removed, so go on.
Jeff Shaw says a static model of a dynamic system is an oxymoron. No, Jeff. A dynamic model of a dynamic system would be an oxymoron. What do you think? What do you think a model does, Jeff Shaw? You are such a piece of work. I tell you, you are so determined to tear me down and delegitimize me.
Back here and ignore Jeff Shaw.
Jeff Shaw should go fuck himself because he is so desperate to tear me down and delegitimize me. He is not listening to anything I'm saying at all.
I just put him in timeout. So, anyways.
Okay, so the point is, okay, so if you are going to model this, right, what I'm doing is saying I have an affirmation here. I have an affirmation that meets all these criteria. It has a prime directive that you can explain every configuration as a strategic approach towards meow, okay? Which you need to do if you're going to have something to test the mechanics against, right? So you need to have that if you're going to correctly model the system. You need to establish what are objects, what are planes, what are vectors,
Give me an example.
Well, the internet is a perfect example. The reason we can do this is because they modeled the ability of people to communicate with each other and the elements of it to the best of their ability, bit by bit by bit, until we've successfully represented our actual communication with each other through this digital, virtual, equivalent.
But I mean, it's not modeling anything. It's. This isn't a model of us talking. We're actually talking.
I agree with you that we're actually talking, right? Except the thing is, I'm not actually hearing your voice in real space time, right? I'm hearing a reproduction of it a long ways away that doesn't even possess, like it used to be in analog audio, that I would actually be hearing your voice on the other end of the telephone. It would have been compressed into electrical signals and carried all the way along. No more. The thing I'm hearing on this end is not your voice. It is a reconstruction of it or some zeros and ones equivalent,
Well, I mean, it just travels through air instead of through wire. It's the same.
No, it's different. No, it's different. When with analog, I actually heard your voice, the same thing converted into electrical signals instead of audio waves, but it's still the same thing. The qualities were contained within the thing and reappeared when it unconverted the other end as a basic physical process. It's fundamentally different than the digitization of something, which reproduces it rather than unpacks it from the thing.
I still don't. It's still not a model though. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if that's right or wrong.
But the point is, the internet provides us an example of how to make it such that individual agents can move information in the various ways they want to while not leaving their chair. Okay.
Okay. No. Yeah.
So that means it's got
The
to allow
internet's
me.
not a model.
So, but okay, that's fine. That's fine. What I'm saying is, it provides an architecture for how one would model agents operating in fields, because it allows us to operate in fields that before the internet we weren't able to operate, right? So the internet basically is the external metaphysical field now, where it used to be libraries or something like that, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I can get on board with that better. It's. Yeah.
Right. So in this regard, we get to see how. Well, what do we need people to be able to do to make this virtual external metaphysical field? We need them to be able to send information, receive information, put information. We need them to be able to control the amount of information they receive.
How far away are we from NE and Christmas songs? Because you're taking me on a walk.
Okay, well, I mean, if you want people always want a full explanation. It is somewhat complicated. The point is, once we've established that we know how to model information flow on an external metaphysical field because we do it on the internet, right? So in other words, we already have the model in front of us that we can designate all information flow into put, get, receive, handshake is what the internet teaches us, as long as we're limiting ourselves to information and not experience, okay? So the thing is, then a full accounting of human attention, it's like the internet provides...
What makes something information? Hold on, what makes...
Okay, so...
What makes something information?
I should have chosen a different word there. As long as something's communicably... as long as something's communicable, the internet can allow us to communicate it. Whether that information that's communicable information is a song we made, words we're saying, or a movie we made, I can convey to your eyes, ears, and brain the information that those things can receive. What I cannot convey is smells. I can't convey smells.
If nobody's listening, is it still communication? And if you leave a sock on the floor, and then I come home later and I see the sock on the floor and know you were here, is that information?
So the world outside of us. Okay, what was the first thing you asked for? Was information again? The sock on the floor.
If it's on the floor that nobody hears, is it still information?
Okay, so basically, what you're asking then about is about objects on the metaphysical field. So yes, in
fact,
I'm
asking is information status dependent on there being a recipient
of course. Yeah, in other words, remember, cognitive functions are always attended by an individual. There is no cognitive function that exists.
So if you were sitting in the shower alone, that is not information.
No, it's still information, because I'm both a subject and an agent. I can both make the sounds and hear them.
Okay.
So, in fact, I talk to myself all the time. Out loud.
And you consider that giving yourself new information every time?
No. Why do you keep adding the word new?
Well, I don't know. I guess I just sort of connect NE with new, I guess. But anyways, this is, I guess, my error because it's not my definition. even though.
Look, I'm not defining. You keep thinking you know what I'm doing. I'm trying to find agreement so that we can do work, right? But I'm finding disagreement even on basic things.
Okay, I'm asking questions. So, where were we? Information is dependent on there being an observer. And my second question was, what if there is an observer of something, but it was not intended?
Okay, so that's the difference between receiving information and getting information. And the attentional manners that represent receiving information are knowledge functions. And the attentional manners that represent deliberation are those that get information. Say the most natural state of a deliberation function is to ask questions.
If I deduce something, if I deduce information from, say, the sock on the floor, did you give me information? Is that an E? You leaving a sock on the floor.
That would be NI, your NI or SI conclusion. If in fact you had encountered an instance before where I left a sock, which I purportedly masturbated into on the floor, which never actually happened, but if this were to be the case, if you had encountered it before, and you were saying, aha, same thing I saw before means the same thing this time, that would be an SI kind of knowing about it. If you were to see a sock,
your action of leaving the sock on the floor, what was that then?
Your imagination.
No, I'm not accusing you of masturbating at my house, even though you probably did. What I'm saying, I'm using in this example is the doer of the action, the leaver of the sock, communicated something to the observer, even though the communication or the information given was not intended.
No, look, the thing is this: the observer turns something into information by the act of observing it. Until that, it's just data that they may or may not access, that exists presumably, but that never comes into their consciousness.
So, one is, I don't...
Now, how prevalent a given piece of data is to sort of command your attention, well, that's relevant with your knowledge functions. So
the difference between data and information differ how?
I mean, information is data that's been attended to.
Okay, so it's in context.
But look, think about it this way. If I go into a room in which there's some people, and one of the guys is wearing something slightly inappropriate for the occasion, not dramatically so. Whether or not that information is information to me depends on my attentional habits. If I'm attending by an extroverted feeling, then high up in the stack, then that will become information to me because that's the kind of data my attentional manner attends to.
Because you interpreted it.
No, because that's how I observe the world, right? So in other words, I observe through a frame of reference where I'm looking for how other people are positioning themselves or failing to do so on FE grounds.
Then under this system, singing in the car would have been information, or would have been NE.
Okay, why do you keep going back to this?
Depending on who's listening.
Again, listen to me. You keep assuming that you know where I was going with that. We never got anywhere. We had to backtrack because I'm trying to get you to agree on the things we can agree on, so then we can move forward to spots where where you think we disagree.
The problem, though, is that it's just really not that hard of a question and an objection I have with the claim, and you're taking
Taylor, I didn't make the claim. Taylor, I didn't make the claim that you assumed I made.
What claim did you make?
I said, let me tell this story about when I was a little kid and what I remember about putting information on the external field, and then you interrupted me and told me how blah 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 blah. That's not any. I never said it was any. I never said it was any.
Well, there's the short answer.
No, Taylor, I've been trying to get you to work with me so that we can understand each other for a long time now. I've been trying to say, listen to what I'm saying. What can we agree on? You're still trying to disagree with me.
But you're saying that you didn't say what I thought you said, so You could have just said that.
I mean, I've said it before. This isn't the first time I've said it in this conversation. It's not. It's not. I said, you keep inferring a claim I didn't make. I've said that before in this conversation, Taylor. This is not the first time I said it.
Okay, so is singing a Christmas song any?
Not, I mean, okay, so
I win!
the answer is, you have to remember that people operate as subjects, agents, and objects, and that there are three angles or perspectives through which we need to understand what it means to be a Dom, right? So, being an expert at intuition, Dom, means I want to put information on the external metaphysical field. It does not mean all that information will be new or novel. It does not mean that all of my ideation will be originally improvised in the moment. In fact, the vast majority of it will comprise things I already know, have already explained, have already sung before, right? So in other words, there's a frame of reference that does value novelty, sure. That's why I continually come up with new things over time. But there's also a frame of reference, that says I like to be the one performing or putting information on the external metaphysical field. Okay? So, in the capacity of me as an extroverted intuitor, as an agent, I didn't like somebody else occupying the external metaphysical field. Was I in that moment acting as a subject in extroverted intuition, generating new improvised original material on the fly? No. That does not mean I'm wrong, you win, or something. It's completely consistent with what I'm saying.
We're both right. We can both win. Not one of us has to be losers, Eric. We can both be winners.
Okay. I mean, I'm glad we had this discussion because it pulled out a very good, strong explanation from me about a lot of different things here. And I think it's pretty clear that as an extroverted intuitor, just because I like to talk and I like to be heard and I like to make information go on the external metaphysical field, or data anyway, that other people may or may not perceive as information, it does not mean that everything I'm going to do is going to be made up original on the spot.
I would never expect that much of you. Nothing is new under the sun. Except for your songs.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You really threw me a big bone there. I appreciate it. Maybe that's the only kind of bone you got, Taylor, huh? Right here.
Oh, you threw one back at me. A high five. Bro the fuck out.
All right. I think this is a good time to end the stream. It's been going for almost 3 hours now. That was kind of intense, but also kind of cathartic because even though we were arguing, we're actually talking to each other some, so I appreciate that. And I think that as a typology community, if we can just all listen to Eric, we'll be in great shape.
It's 11:11. Make a wish.
All right, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Good
Taylor.
talk.
Nice
Good
talking
having
to
me
you.
on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Later.
Okay, live stream, end stream. Goodbye. That's a pretty good battle there, explanation-y thing or whatever.